Heat makes you crave foods that feel gentle and chilled. But there's one mistake with applesauce I keep seeing. I've been relying on shelf-stable foods through entire summers without air conditioning. So I learned this the hard way. Before you crack the seal, that jar sits calmly on the shelf for months without refrigeration. But the second you pop the lid, everything changes. Now it needs to chill inside the fridge and get eaten within the window printed on the label, usually 3 to 5 days. A jar left open on the counter during a sweltering afternoon invites trouble fast, even if it seems fine at first glance. Ghee is the longest-lasting cooking fat you can keep at room temperature. I started keeping it after the third time I reached for butter and got that sour, off smell instead. Regular butter goes rancid the moment your fridge fails or you forget to close the wrapper tight. Ghee has the milk solids cooked out, so it sits stable in your cupboard for months without going bad. Same rich flavor, same high smoke point, but zero panic when the power goes out. It is simply butter that has been gently heated until virtually all the water and milk solids separate and are removed, leaving behind pure golden fat. This tiny transformation produces an enormous practical benefit. Before opening, ghee can rest on a cool pantry shelf for many months without refrigeration, while preserving its unmistakable rich, nutty character. What makes ghee worthy of shelf space extends beyond its storage stability. Its smoke point hovers near 485 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly 250 degrees Celsius, climbing well above that of regular butter and numerous cooking oils. This makes ghee ideal for screaming hot sears, quick stir-frying, high-temperature roasting, or baking without triggering burnt, acrid smoke that ruins delicate flavors. Just one small spoonful can alter the entire trajectory of a dish. Sautéed greens bloom with greater fragrance. Mashed root vegetables turn softer and more decadent. Fried eggs develop a superior golden lace. A hot bowl of steamed rice or a simple lentil stew becomes glossier and more indulgent with a mere slick of melted ghee floating on the surface. This is why many seasoned cooks view ghee not as a splurge, but as a foundational fat that makes almost any plate better. I would truly value your perspective. In your family's daily cooking, do you lean most heavily on regular butter, olive oil, coconut oil, or clarified ghee? Share your staple in the comments so we can all learn from each other's kitchens. As climbing temperatures cause many grocery items to degrade faster and the price of various fats continues to wobble, a factory-sealed jar of ghee can wait patiently on the shelf for months, ready to pour into a hot pan without depending on the fridge. To keep your ghee at peak quality, always dip in with a dry, clean utensil. Seal the lid firmly after each use and store it somewhere shielded from sun and dampness. Even a few stray drops of moisture can slash its stable shelf life. What makes a jar of ghee quietly remarkable is not its amber glow or its toasty perfume. It is the peace of knowing that a stable, versatile source of cooking fat is always standing by, prepared to transform humble components into a more aromatic, energy-dense, and wholly pleasing meal for everyone gathered. Evaporated milk is the lone can that rescues a broken recipe midstream. Sometimes a dish falls apart not because it lacks meat, produce, or spice. It collapses simply because you swing open the fridge and discover the milk carton is dry. Your morning coffee turns punishingly sharp and bitter. A creamy vegetable puree loses its silky finish. A bubbling tray of mac and cheese seizes into a stiff, gritty block. A baking project screeches to a halt halfway through measuring, all because one seemingly mundane ingredient has vanished. Only then does a humble can of evaporated milk reveal its true worth. Many people mistake it for ordinary canned drinking milk. In reality, roughly 60% of the water has been vacuumed out. That leaves a thicker, velvety liquid with a concentrated, mildly caramelized flavor that can fill multiple roles across the kitchen. Dilute it with an equal measure of water, and it can step in almost exactly like fresh milk across countless everyday dishes. Swirl a splash into coffee and watch the bitterness mellow into something rounder. Stir it into a soup pot and watch the broth gain a natural body without demanding heavy cream. Mix it into mac and cheese to restore a lush, creamy texture. Fold it into cookies, cakes, or griddle cakes, and watch the baked result hold moisture and tender crumb for longer. A can of evaporated milk does not just mimic fresh milk. It can salvage a cooking project that otherwise would end in the bin. I am genuinely curious about your priority. If a single can of evaporated milk remained in your cupboard, would you dedicate it to coffee, a soup, mac and cheese, or a baking batter? Tell us in the comments so the whole community can swipe new strategies. June is an opportune stretch to stash a few cans. When sweltering temperatures push fresh milk toward spoilage at double speed, and a special trip to the store merely to grab 1 quart becomes an annoying chore. A few tins of evaporated milk sitting on the shelf let you keep cooking without throwing your whole supper plan into chaos. Store the can where it remains cool and dry, far from warm pipes or bright windows. Once opened, transfer leftover milk into a sealed dish, refrigerate, and use within a couple of days to maintain ideal flavor and safety. Perhaps the most profound gift inside a can of evaporated milk is not the liquid itself. It is the power to stop your morning coffee, your bubbling soup kettle, your sheet of baked treats, and your family dinner from being derailed simply because the icebox is missing 1 carton of fresh milk. Pure cacao powder feeds the spirit as much as the body. Some days you're not short on calories, you're short on a reason to sit still and breathe for a handful of quiet minutes. A single teaspoon of plain cacao powder carries maybe 15 calories, but it holds enough aromatic power to transform the whole room. Pure cacao is loaded with polyphenols, natural antioxidants that give it that subtle bitterness and deep mahogany color. But the real value isn't pinned to a nutrition chart. It lives in the feeling it stirs. After a draining day, when you need to reclaim a pocket of peace, would you reach for hot cacao or black coffee? It is dense, opaque, deeply sweet, and carries an earthy, almost smoky edge. Yet that very flavor profile is what white sugar cannot replicate. Molasses does not just deliver sweetness, it delivers dimension. A single small spoonful can make a warm bowl of oats taste cozier. It can give gingerbread and spice cookies a hauntingly rich note. Molasses can deepen a pot of baked beans. It brings a dark, signature sweetness to barbecue sauce that no powder or syrup can match. When you select blackstrap molasses, it also retains a handful of natural minerals like iron, calcium, and potassium. It should never be mistaken for a supplement, but stacked against refined sugar, which offers basically nothing beyond empty sweetness, molasses clearly carries more substance. As many families fire up backyard grills, bake nostalgic treats from scratch, or search for versatile ingredients with a long pantry runway, molasses emerges as a small but exceedingly useful ally. Keep the cap twisted tightly, store the bottle in a dry and cool place, and guard it from direct sunshine. The genuine worth of molasses is not packed inside its sweetness level. It is its singular ability to take utterly average dishes and imbue them with depth, warmth, and the unmistakable aroma of a kitchen that has been lovingly tended across many decades. In your own kitchen, if you had to choose a single sweetener to keep for the long haul, would you pick brown sugar, honey, or molasses? Perhaps the most critical takeaway is not how many pounds of provisions you have stacked. It is truly understanding which items help make your kitchen more resilient when life starts shifting beneath your feet. A modest can, a pouch of powder, a humble jar of seasoning, or a simple box on the shelf may not seem important this afternoon, but in the right moment, it can empower you to cook one more meal, keep your head level, and take better care of your loved ones. Preparing is not about living inside a prison of fear. Preparing is about walking into tomorrow with a lighter burden of worry. If you already keep any of the items on this list in your home, share them in the comments and let everyone know how you use them. If this video brought you value, please tap like so the algorithm shares these ideas with more households, and subscribe to my channel for steady, practical preparedness thinking.